If that becomes a social norm, then how do you decide somebody has whatever, multiple wives, and how do you decide somebody has no wife? You're opening up your memory body. This will cause a whole lot of turmoil within the system.
Sadhguru, my next question for you is, why can't one husband be with multiple women and one woman or a wife can be with multiple husbands in today's society among consenting adults? And what impact do these people have when they're involved in such relationships?
See, body is the front end for every other creature on this planet. The only reason this creature is dominating this planet is not because we have the best body. You're not comparable to an elephant or a tiger or anything for that matter, you're not even as good as a buffalo. Yes, in terms of strength and physical prowess, you're nowhere comparable. This is dominant because of its intelligence, this is dominant because of its consciousness. But right now, we are creating a world where your biology is the front end of your life. These things were done at a certain time when the social situations were such. Or men were married to more than one woman. This was mainly because men died more often than women. Today, both men and women are outside, both may get killed, that's different. But at that time, largely women stayed home because she was continuously pregnant. From the age of 14 to 45, 50, she's almost all the time either she's pregnant or she has a young child. This is how life used to be. So because of that, she stayed home and she took care of the property and the agriculture and stuff. Man went out to do business or for war or something else, he went out. So men always died more often. So generally, in most societies in the past, the number of men was much less than the number of women, always. This has been the state all across the world. So naturally, when so many women were there, they needed care and they needed support in the society, and those days a woman could not exist by herself. Unless she's protected by a male partner, it would be very difficult for her to exist by herself because she would be exploited in so many different ways. So always they attached themselves. So naturally a man ended up having 2, 3 women because the population ratio was like that. But now largely it's leveled out. If that becomes a social norm, then how do you decide somebody has whatever, multiple wives, and how do you decide somebody has no wife? This will become a social, collision, it'll become lot of problems in the society because we may act civilized. I'm very particular, I'm very clear about saying we act civilized, but when we are denied basic things that we need, all our civilization evaporates and we will behave like animals. Yes or no? So, when fundamentals are denied, people will go flashing. So, that's not going to work in today's world. And above all, the woman's condition will become very bad. If you're asking this question in a more existential way, well, see, this is a certain framework of not just of bone and muscle and flesh. There is a certain energy framework. Only because of that, it takes certain form. See, if you eat mangoes every day, and let's say a cow eats mangoes every day, at some point, will you or the cow get confused whether you're a cow or a human being? Or will the cow get confused? Such a thing never happens because there is a clear-cut inner framework to which flesh and blood is added. But there is a framework, an evolutionary memory framework is there, it never gets broken, isn't it? So in this framework, how strong you keep this framework, how much integrity is there to this energy framework will determine many things about your life, many aspects of your life. Especially if you want to raise this life to another level of function, it's very important you maintain this integrity. This is why, irrespective of which religion, which spiritual process, if people want to raise themselves to a certain point, first thing they will talk about is becoming monks or brahmacharis or sannyasis, because the idea is to create such a level of integrity that this is a whole life by itself, that it doesn't lean on anything else for support, either for physical well-being or emotional well-being or psychological companionship. It doesn't lean on anything, it stands by itself because you want to take it somewhere else. If you want normal function, these things are not necessary. Now you want to become a rocket which breaks through a certain dimension of space. Now you need to be in a different level of force and integrity, otherwise it'll crack up. So you don't want to open your body to anything, and especially opening to multiple partners has its own negativity in that context. How much pain, and you look at Draupadi's life, how much volatility, how much pain, how much suffering she went through in her life, and how much pain and suffering she caused because of her anger and jealousy and whatever else. So, these things happen for variety of reasons. You can't blame everything on that one aspect, but that aspect also has a say in these aspects because you're opening up your memory body, your energetic body, which is essentially ruled by memory, to variety of memories. This will cause a whole lot of turmoil within the system, which could affect that life and many other lives. So Draupadi's life is in a way a sample for that. It's not an absolute. This is not an absolute, but this has an influence.